Welcome back to the Farmer's Wife 1930 Sampler Quilt Along. Today we are going to do number 40, Grandmother. And I have my fabrics picked out. I have a Bella Solid, not sure what it is for the purple. And an Aunt Grace Goes Scrappy. This one might also be Aunt Grace. I'm not sure. But out of my big basket, these are the ones I picked for this one. And let's take a look at what it will look like potentially when it's finished. So it's kind of like a little basket without the handle. All right, let me put this on my book stand and we will get started cutting out pieces. All right, we're gonna start with the purple. And for the purple, we will need let's see here. I gotta move my stuff over a little. Wait, maybe. Okay, we'll need this big one, which is G. We'll need one of those. One of E, one of F. Those are these. And one of A. So these are all going to be cut out of the purple. Let's get that started. Okay, guys, we have the purple done. And bear with me. I know the past few videos, I've had a lot of shadows. I did order a ring light. It'll be here today, but I like to get my videos done while the kids are at school, if possible. So we're just going to have a couple more videos with shadow, and then I should be able to get that all set up and eliminate the problem. Okay, let's go with the orange. Now, like I mentioned in my other videos, we want to be tracing on the right side of the fabric, and we always just want to do that. It will matter in one of these blocks, so just get in the habit of tracing on the right side. Okay, so for the orange, we are going to cut 1 of D, 2 B, and 4 of C, and I'm going to do this out of a jelly roll. Okay, so let's get these pieces traced and cut out. our last one. We are going to cut out of the yellow 3 B's and 1 C. All right, guys, let's lay these pieces out and then we'll get to sewing. All right, our big piece, G, goes over here. That will be the last piece we sew. All right, we have A in this corner and D goes in front of that, and the yellow C will go there. It's starting to look like candy corn. If the purple was white, we would have a candy corn. That's funny. Okay, I crack myself up sometimes, sorry. All right, then we have, which one is this? Is this F? Yeah, I think this is F, goes up here, which means E goes down here. I'm putting these kind of far away because this is going to be one unit we sew together, and so we're going to work on units over here too. So, all right, and then let's do these first. B goes there, and another 2 of the B's, and then we have 2 of the C's go like this. All right, and then we have another B, along with the last two C's. All right, so you can kind of see how we're gonna sew it together, just how it's put on the board. Okay, so like we're gonna sew these three together in a line and then sew it to this piece. Same with down here. We'll do these three and then sew it to this piece. We'll sew these two and then make a block out of that. And then we're going to do these triangles onto this square here to make a bigger triangle. Okay, and then we'll put them all together and sew them to this. So all this over here is going to be the same size as this triangle when we're finished. So what should we start with? We have all these little groups we need to sew together. Let's start with this corner piece here. So first we're going to work on these two pieces here. So I am going to draw a line, a 1/4 inch seam on the short side of this orange piece here. And then we're going to sew that together right like that. Actually, I'm gonna mark it on the yellow piece. I always like to mark on the smaller piece, and it's just a preference. I don't care to sew without seeing, you know, a little more of it. So, okay, so let's mark the seam and sew this together. And then I'm not gonna stop the video to talk, but once we get this together, we're going to mark this seam and then sew these together like that. And then they'll open up into a square, okay? So we're gonna sew these three pieces together right now. that's so cute. Okay, we're gonna press this open. And I have a habit of pressing everything open in these because there's a lot of pieces and you never really know what is going to line up with what. I don't have enough brain power to do that before I sew. So we're just pressing everything open unless there's an obvious spot. Okay. So we have this corner piece finished. I think this one might go a little quicker than I thought it would. So we're about a half hour in. I think the next one we're going to do are these 3. So I'm going to do these at the same time. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark, let me show you on this one. I'm going to mark this piece on both sides of the yellow. So let me do that real quick here. And I mark everything. It takes longer, but it comes out more accurate. So that's what I do. I'm going to take the other yellow one and do the same thing. And that way I can show you both of them at once. And just like the other piece, I'm going to sew both sides before I press it. Okay. Yep, that's a little upside down there. Make sure they're on the right. Okay. So for these, we're just going to do the same thing. We're going to fold one in and sew across that side. And then we're going to put the other one on and do the same thing. Sew across there. And so we'll have the piece finished all at once. Okay, and so you notice the rounded corners. I didn't really explain this on the other one very well, but the rounded corners make it so you don't have to worry about any overlap, okay? If this were pointed, you would have overlap, and you'd have to worry about where to line up what. But with these rounded corners, you don't. But when you have two 90-degree angles, a good rule of thumb is that they should line up. Now, I can't say for all 99 blocks if that is true, but it's been true so far. Always line up your 90-degree angles and or line up your, what am I trying to say? Your curved corners. All right, so let's get these all pinned and sewn together. finish up these blocks quick. Well, they're not blocks, but they're funky. What's that shape called? Somebody take me back to elementary school and remind me. Okay, so I am going to probably mark on this piece because it's easier to make sure I don't sew my seams shut. So that's how we're going to do this one. We're going to sew across the long edge of this piece and sew it to the shorter, longer edge. The shorter of the two longer edges. Okay, mark on the longer, sew on the shorter, and we're going to do the same with this one up here. Okay. So again, on this one, we want to make sure our corners are lined up, our 90-degree angles, and then this will come pretty close, but it might hang over a little bit, and that's okay. Okay, I'm really feeling like I don't want to press this open, and I think for this one I'm just going to press it the way it wants to fall. So let's do that. And where it's placed, I think it'll be okay to do that. So yeah, that should be fine. Might have a little issue there, but not much. That should be fine. All right. Let's press the other one open. And then we're going to start on that little center unit with 2 triangles and a square. Oh, I'm trying to press that open. We're not pressing it open. Oh, I'm just so in the habit of pressing everything open. But sometimes you don't have to. Okay. So that's how that one's going to look on the back. Oh, it's all coming together, guys. Yay. Okay, so the center unit, let me check my computer quick. I'm having storage issues, so I want to make sure I don't go too overboard before editing my other videos. Okay, so this one I am going to, I think I'm going to mark these orange ones, and I'm going to mark a 1/4 inch on this side and this side. And then we're going to sew one at a time, or pin one at a time also. So these will just flip in. And again, we're going to be more worried about this 90-degree angle down here than we are about these rounded points. So we want to make sure that angle is correct. And when we go to do this one, we'll do the same. We want to make sure that these corners are lined up. Okay, so let's do the center unit. Again, I'm going to mark here, here, and I'm going to do one at a time, press open, and then put the other one on, press open. So let's get this marked and sewn. And just a quick note, this will overhang, okay? But trust the process. It will turn out just as it's supposed to when it flips up. So don't be a little weary of that. It is perfectly fine. And that is why we line up the corners over here, because these will overhang. And that's going to be the same in a lot of the videos. A ton of blocks, probably most of them. You just have to trust the process. Okay, you see how that came out perfectly fine? And it is straight along the line here. Trust the process. Okay, now we are going to work from top to bottom. So we are going to sew these two pieces together, and we're going to sew these two pieces together. So what I'm gonna do, I like to mark my smaller ones. So I'm going to mark on the back of this one right here, and then I'll fold that down and pin it. And over here on this one, I'm going to mark the square because it's smaller, and I will fold that one up and pin it. Okay, we are almost done, guys. I can't believe how quick this is going. Okay, maybe not almost done, but let's see. 1, 2, 3. I think we have 4 seams left. Boy, that just doesn't seem like, it seems like there should be so many more on this one. Okay, well, let's get these marked, pinned, and sewn together, and then we'll be on the home stretch. All right, sorry, I had to pause the video for a moment, so I'm not sure where I was, but again, storage issues. So let's get these sewn together. And again, I'm going to match up these 90-degree angles, and I'm also going to make sure that these lines are matched up also. And so I want that lined up and this corner lined up. For this one, we're just going to worry about these edges lining up as best as possible. Looks like my square is just a tad large. That's okay. Let's get them as best we can. was just looking quick to see if I could get away with leaving this one to the side, but I'm going to press it open because I think the other one will need pressed open to kind of lay how we want it to when we put those together. So just a quick little bit of brain power that I hoped worked. It might not have worked because my brain doesn't always work right these days. So we're just going to press it open and put it back where it belongs. And we're going to press this one open and put it back where it belongs also. And that point looks really good there. This square ended up a little bigger than the width of this. And so I'm really glad that turned out all right. I was a little worried about that. But again, doesn't need to be absolutely perfect. I am working on a quilt right now where none of my points line up. They're absolutely terrible. Yeah, so okay. We're almost done. We have 2 seams left. So because this one's a little wonky, I am going to mark on this side, and then we're going to fold this over, and we're actually going to do more lining up with these center 2, because it's just, you got a rounded corner here, which you can line up with the round there. And then you have a 90-degree angle to line up with a rounded one here. But if you look at it, we really want these points in the middle to match. So that's how I'm going to pin. I'm going to do more lining up using these 2 right here, if that makes any sense at all. So I'm going to mark my line on this side, and we're going to fold it over, line it up, and sew it together. So that one didn't line up as good. And I might actually take that out and redo it so it lines up better. I'm not sure. Let's see how it lines up to this first, and that will determine whether I redo this. But it is so close. It really is. Yeah, I'm gonna leave that. That's way too close to redo. We're our own worst critics, aren't we? Yeah, that's fine. Okay, let's press this open and then see if it fits. Oh, I hope it fits on the other triangle. Some of these have 2 moments of truth. The one when you've already sewn almost the whole thing together, and then to see if it's the right size once it's all sewn together. And originally I was going to make 2. So I was going to make 1 and then I was going to record myself making it. And I thought, you know what? If I do that, I am just perfecting everything before I show you guys. And I thought, well, that's just ridiculous, because then if I make mistakes, you guys can learn from my mistakes, you know? Like I said, my square here is actually a little bigger than the rest of it. And, you know, I'll just end up trimming that off. But had I perfected it before I did it, you guys wouldn't have seen that, and yours may be bigger, and you're like, oh my gosh, mine's too big. What do I do? Well, when we're done, after I press it with the iron, I will square all of these blocks up before I put them together. So that'll just get trimmed off. No biggie. All right. Now we really, oh, this is the nervous part. Okay. Is it going to fit? Oh, smooth it out a little because I did not iron it. Okay. Let's see here. Let's line those corners up, and oh my gosh, guys, it is the right size. Ah, how exciting. Oh my gosh. I bet you guys are sighing a sigh of relief right now if yours is fitting, because that is a lot of sewing to have it not line up. Granted, it's not a terribly long block like some of them, and I guarantee some of them we are going to totally screw up. But, oh wow, this is great. Okay. So now what I'm going to do with this one, it would be a lot easier to draw the line on this one, but I think I'm going to draw it on this one so I can try my hardest to sew these points very accurately. Yeah, so I'm gonna actually draw it on this side. This is our last seam, guys. So I'm gonna draw it here so I can see as I'm sewing these points here, because they will go right up to the edge. Let's see, you can't really, yeah, well, you get the point. Yeah. Okay, so let's do this, and hopefully this turns out the right size, unlike my little square down here. All right, this is it, our last seam. I'm not pressing open. I am just going to press it this way because there's just a lot going on here and it'll fall that way naturally, and there's no reason to open that seam. So I'm just going to press it a little bit from the back. Then we'll turn it over and press it. And then this will get a nice press with my iron later. Oh goodness, it's so pretty. Absolutely love this one. All right. Oh, guys, look how cute that is. I love it. All right, let's see if we got 6.5 inches. And I think we did on this one, but let's see. That is almost exactly 6.5. And then this side, come on, did we do it? Yep, just over 6.5 with that extra little bit on the square. So if we do, well, it's going to be a little bigger because my bottom square here was a little bigger. So just over 6.5. Oh, guys, that is awesome. I love this one. Number 40, Grandmother. Okay, we'll see you for the next block. Bye.